What if I told you that right now there are lonely booster boxes sitting out on the secondary market waiting for you to pick them up? Top investments just waiting for you. Well, I am going to tell you that, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into in this video. Now, definitely listen up and wait till the end. There's going to be picks in here that you aren't going to find on other top 5 lists, especially the top 2. What's going on, guys? My name is Riley, aka Pokemon Trader. I'm a collector and investor. I've been doing it since about 2014 or so, and I've been doing it longer than 99% of other people in the space. So if you guys appreciate what I'm doing, you enjoy the channel, or it's helped you at all, please like, comment, and subscribe. It all really does help. And of course, share it with a friend if you feel like I've earned it. Lastly, before we jump right into the top 5, I want to just share a small announcement that we will be ripping this Evolving Skies booster box as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe, help me rip this open, which I really don't want to do, but I will do it. All right, getting right into the video. Number 5 is going to be the Surging Sparks booster box. This is a booster box that has been kind of just flying under the radar. This is going to be somewhat of the speculative play simply because it is so recent. It's hyper modern, as I like to say. It hasn't aged a whole lot. It's only just over a year old. It came out originally in October of 2024. And sets that are new, but not the newest set and not quite old enough to be out of print, tend to get overlooked, like Surging Sparks. And if you look at what's in this set, this is an amazing set. Like all of our investments, I just want to reiterate real quick, if you're new here, of course, we're sticking with sealed product because it tends to do the best over time, right? Sealed only ever gets ripped and there's only ever less of it going forward. Whereas slabbed cards or raw cards, there's only ever more of them as more product gets ripped. And of course, we're going to be focusing on booster boxes as the title states, because those also, over the 30-year history of Pokemon collecting and investing, have appreciated the most and had the most gains of any sealed product. And like all collectibles investing, it's highly dependent on what is in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
There are other factors that go into it, such as the scarcity, how rare the set is. Maybe it was short printed, in that simply Pokemon didn't print a lot of them. So a lot of older sets during unpopular eras of Pokemon were not heavily printed, and so they're incredibly rare. But back to Surging Sparks, this box is not rare, it's not scarce, it was printed heavily, and we've been getting reprints ever since it came out, usually in the form of booster bundles, ETBs, things of that nature. It really seems that Pokemon is heavily focused on printing those smaller booster pack SKUs as compared to the booster box, which kind of makes sense. They're trying to get cards into as many hands as possible, so they can only do so much if they're printing booster boxes, which contain 36 booster packs. But with Surging Sparks, looking at the set list, of course, you've got the top chase card, the Booty Chew, also known as the Butthole Pikachu. I don't personally love this card just because I don't like the crowns. Funny Hats just doesn't do it for me. But nonetheless, it's still got the rainbow border. It is a beautiful card. It's just not my personal taste. But next to that, of course, you have the Latios EX, which I love. You have the Latios EX that kind of mirrors or goes with that card. And then, of course, the Milotic, among many others. It's just a beautiful, heavy-hitting set with Pokemon that people love. Now, it doesn't have a lot of the top Pokemon that people are looking for. We're thinking Gengar, Snorlax, Charizard, Mew, Mewtwo, things of that nature, but there's still very loved Pokemon in this set. And again, stick around to see my top 2 because you're just not going to see these in any top 5 lists. And I'm not really sure why, other than they're just not the set in the limelight currently. So on to number 4. This is going to be kind of a catch-all category. So this is going to be any of the top set booster boxes from the Sword and Shield era aside from Evolving Skies. So that's going to be like Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Chilling Reign, or Brilliant Stars. All of these sets are pretty comparable in price. There's a lot of fluctuation going on right now, but they're anywhere from $500 to $600 or so per booster box, which seems like a lot. But when you compare these sets that are 4 or 5 years old, compared to something like Paldea Evolved or Destined Rivals, which are only less than a year old for Destined Rivals or 2 years old for Paldea Evolved, those sets are rivaling the older Sword and Shield sets in price, right? You have these new Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes pushing for $450 per booster box, and they just came out. So we could still see a massive booster box reprint. Will we? It's hard to say. Nobody really knows. I'm hopeful that we will, but as I stated earlier in the video, it seems that Pokemon is focusing on other smaller booster pack SKUs. Going back to the Sword and Shield sets that I mentioned before, these are some of the top sets from the Sword and Shield era, and like I said, they're already 4 or 5 years old, and that is really when we start to see these booster boxes become really, really scarce and really rare. So now might be the last chance you have to pick up these booster boxes before they take off $1,000 plus. Number 3 is going to be Evolving Skies. You really can't go wrong with this set. I mean, it is easily the top set, the best set in all of the modern era. People from across the spectrum of Pokemon fandom love this set. If they're trying to master it, collect it, invest in it, whatever it may be, everybody loves this set. And that's a little piece of advice I'd like to offer you guys, is that when you see many different pockets from Pokemon fans that are all raving about the same thing, same cards, same sets, same booster boxes, that's usually a good sign that that's how the whole of the market feels. And that can give you confidence as the buyer, as the investor, that this is going to be a good set going into the future. So of course, with Evolving Skies, you have the OG Moonbryon, again, the top card that everyone wants in their collection or investments for the modern era. And this whole set list is just full of bangers. You got the Rayquaza, you have the Dragonite V alternate art, the Umbreon V alternate art, which I actually prefer to the Moonbryon, but that's just my personal taste. You can like whatever you want. So the only problem with Evolving Skies is the price point. It is roughly $2,500 per booster box right now, which is a lot of money to invest in a single set or just a single booster box. But rest assured, this set is going to do so well over time. I am very bullish on Evolving Skies, and the only reason this doesn't take the #1 slot is because of the age and the price. All right, we've had a lot of foreshadowing, but on to the #2 booster box, which is going to be Forbidden Light. So this set is good, not great, but it is old. It's already pushing 8 years old. And again, the 5+ year range is when we really start to see booster boxes becoming way more scarce and harder to find. Currently, there are only 8 listings of this booster box on TCG Player, which is just over a single case. So as time goes on, you can see even just 8 years out, these sets are incredibly hard to find and difficult to source. But like I mentioned before, this set is good. It has a lot of rainbow rares, which are not really what people are looking for. I've never really liked the rainbow rares. I know a lot of people agree with me on that, but they are still certainly worth a decent price. As you can see here, many of them are right around the $100 mark. And of course, besides that, up near the top, you have that Greninja GX, which is a beautiful card. And part of the reason why this set is #2 and what I picked for #1 is the #1 slot is simply because these boxes are flying under the radar. They're at that point in their life cycle where they are certainly old and certainly rare, but they haven't quite grown to the level of nostalgia or vintage era quite yet. They're stuck in what I've coined as the mid era, where they're old, but they're not vintage, and they're relatively still new compared to vintage, but they're not hyper modern where all of the focus of the current market is at. So it's for that reason that they tend to fly under the radar. And of course, the price for these booster boxes is not as much as Evolving Skies, but certainly these sets are nowhere near as excellent as Evolving Skies. So this booster box is going for about $1,600, quite a bit less than Evolving Skies, but for good reason. And now for the long-awaited #1 booster box investment for 2026 is going to be Lost Thunder. This is an even more underrated set than Forbidden Light, which is why it takes the #1 slot. And that is because of the price. It is just slightly less expensive than Forbidden Light, and I'm not really sure why. The set value is about $800 more, and the Pokemon in it, the cards in it are just that much better. You've got Lugia, you've got Tyranitar, you've got Mimikyu. Now, of course, you do have the rainbow rares in here and taking the top spot, as you can see here, but that Lugia GX is just amazing. It's beautiful, and it's coming in at only $100. And if you keep going down the list, the other Lugia GX is only $29, and I actually like this art even better. And when you hear a lot of people say that, I like this card better, I like this card better, but the price is a third of the more expensive card, well, it's probably because of the rarity and how easy it is to pull, so there is some good reason for that, but it's also a good sign that that card is going to rise in price. So the price for this booster box on TCG Player is about $1,600 compared to Forbidden Light, which is closer to $1,750. So that's about it, guys. Check out my other videos if you want more investing advice. I have top 5 videos, general investing advice for beginners, whatever it may be. I've got it all. And like I said earlier, please like, comment, and subscribe. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll be ripping this box open live. Well, that's about it, guys. Peace.